Nobody begins by asking for darkness. They begin by telling themselves it isn't real. A board bought as a joke. A ritual challenge that promises nothing more than a thrill. A coven invitation framed as community, healing, or empowerment. A spell treated like intention setting. A symbol worn because it looks interesting. The language is always the same. Harmless, playful, curiosity. People don't think of these moments as choices. They think of them as experiences. Something to try once, something to walk away from. What witnesses later struggle to explain is not what they did, but what responded. Not during the activity, not when the question was asked or the words were spoken. Later. When the lights were off, when the phone was silent, when the laughter ended, that's when the sense of being alone vanished. Almost every modern testimony begins with disbelief. I didn't believe any of it. I was laughing the whole time. I didn't think anything could actually happen. A teenager joins a ritual challenge because it's trending and stops sleeping for days. A college student attends a group ceremony out of curiosity and begins waking to whispered thoughts that don't feel like their own. A woman experiments with spell work for empowerment and finds sudden waves of rage, despair, or intrusive urges that feel foreign. Different people, different circumstances, same realization. Disbelief did not protect them. Mockery did not cancel participation. Whatever responded did not require belief, only access. If you're watching this because something already feels off, you'll want to stay with this series. People begin noticing patterns they can't explain away. The activity ends, but the effects don't. The curiosity fades, but the presence doesn't. They disengage, yet something lingers. Fear replaces denial, not fear of the unknown. Fear of having been noticed. What makes this difficult to explain is how slowly the realization forms. At first, people don't panic, they rationalize. A bad night, stress, coincidence. Days pass, sometimes weeks. The sleep disruption doesn't feel dramatic. It feels targeted. They wake at the same hour every night. They feel watched only when the lights are off. They sense attention, not threat. The mind begins adjusting around the disturbance instead of confronting it. That's when people realize something else is happening. The experience isn't trying to scare them. It's trying to normalize itself. Fear would drive resistance. Familiarity erodes it. One of the most disturbing consistencies across testimonies is this. The presence does not react negatively to disbelief. It reacts confidently. Witnesses describe the same tone again and again. Amusement, dismissal, patience, as if disbelief lowers defenses rather than raising them. Belief implies caution. Disbelief implies carelessness. Several witnesses describe moments when they tried to reassert control, laughing, insulting, daring whatever they thought they were dealing with. The response was never fear, it was escalation. Dreams sharpen, thoughts grow intrusive, sleep fractures. The atmosphere in familiar rooms feels charged, crowded, wrong. Many report something particularly unsettling, a sudden irrational hostility toward prayer, scripture, or spiritual authority, even in people who were previously indifferent. Not dramatic possession, something quieter. This is the chapter people wish they had understood earlier, because no one remembers saying yes. They remember participating. Ancient warnings never framed access as a dramatic choice. They warned against curiosity, against seeking knowledge without authority, against experimenting with forces not meant to be handled. Modern witnesses eventually recognize the same truth. Participation functions as permission, not informed permission, but permission nonetheless. A board invites response. A ritual invites presence. A coven invites alignment. A spell invites attention. People don't think they're consenting. They think they're playing. What people are encountering didn't start with them, and it doesn't end here. People expect the experience to end when they stop. It doesn't, because the activity was never the point. Access was. Witnesses describe the same slow unraveling, rooms that feel occupied when empty, a sense of being watched from angles that make no sense, emotional volatility that feels disproportionate, relationships deteriorating without explanation, compulsions intensifying, especially toward isolation, shame, or self-destruction. They try grounding techniques. They try logic. They try distraction. Nothing holds, because whatever answered did not arrive to perform. It arrived to stay, not visibly, not theatrically. Persistently. This is when witnesses stop. They stop talking about events and start talking about interference. Work suffers, concentration fractures, memory feels unreliable. People describe losing words mid-sentence, forgetting why they walked into rooms, feeling as though their thoughts are being nudged rather than attacked. Relationships strain because the change is subtle. Are you okay? Loved ones say, you're not acting like yourself but can't explain why. The witness can't explain it either. There are no visions, no voices most of the time. Just the growing sense that privacy has been compromised, not physically but internally, as if something has learned their rhythms and is adjusting around them. This is where panic sets in, because people assume disengagement reverses the process. They stop playing. They stop attending. They discard objects. They distance themselves from anyone involved, and yet the effects intensify. Witnesses begin to suspect something far more frightening than a bad experience. Closing the door is not automatic, because the door was never physical. It was relational. Attention was given. Engagement occurred. Boundaries were crossed unknowingly, and boundaries once crossed do not reset on their own. This is where desperation begins. Not desperation for knowledge, desperation for relief. This is the most dangerous phase. Not chaos. Silence. Witnesses often report a deceptive calm. Sleep improves briefly. The room feels empty again. The fear recedes. People believe it's over. That's when influence deepens. Thoughts feel subtly redirected. Compulsions intensify without obvious cause. Shame increases. Isolation grows. The presence no longer announces itself. It doesn't need to. It has learned the terrain. Predators don't rush. They observe. The silence doesn't last. It never does. But when it breaks, it doesn't break loudly. It breaks with pressure. Witnesses describe sudden waves of despair that don't match their circumstances, urges that feel disconnected from desire, a pull toward isolation that feels purposeful. The most disturbing realization comes later. These impulses don't feel random. They feel timed, as if something waits for weakness, as if observation preceded intervention. By the time people recognize the pattern, they understand something critical. This isn't about games. The games were just how attention was secured. Eventually, witnesses reach the same conclusion. This isn't a haunting, it's an attachment. Not possession, not control. Influence, a foothold gained through curiosity, through play, through the assumption that disbelief equals safety. People don't feel invaded, they feel compromised. And that realization carries a chilling implication. If access can be granted accidentally, Then how many doors are being opened right now? Casually, socially, culturally, not through fear, but through indifference. Nothing about these practices looks violent. They look communal, empowering, entertaining. That's what makes them effective. Darkness doesn't need belief. It needs permission. And once permission is given, the question is no longer whether something heard you. It's whether something was already waiting. Make sure you subscribe to continue watching the Demons Among Us series. Next, the CERN question. When institutions open doors.
Cheers!